room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel, where one of humanity's most misunderstood geniuses passed away on January 7, 1943, harbored a secret that would permanently revolutionize our understanding of the cosmos. Among the items recovered by the authorities were stolen patents and prohibited research, as well as a faded leather notebook written in violet ink and protected by symbols that only a select few could decode. Nikola Tesla died as a mystic, piercing the deepest strata of reality. A sage who discovered that the entire cosmos is nothing more than a symphony of vibrations waiting to be orchestrated by someone who knows the correct score. This journal contains his final findings on the frequency that drives everything. This vibrational code governs everything from heartbeats to galaxy movements. For decades, these pages stayed silent, concealing some of the most frightening secrets ever documented. For the first time ever, they disclosed the truth to those who were willing to hear it. Tesla realized that reality is not solid. It is musical, and everybody who learns to vibrate in harmony with the universe has the potential to transform not only their own destiny, but the fate of humanity as a whole. Prepare to discover what the powers that be have hidden for 80 years. Prepare to encounter the frequency that regulates everything. My hand is trembling as I write these words. Not from aging, but from the weight of what I'm going to say. For 70 years, I've kept a secret that could change humanity's future forever. The universe is not as you were taught. It's an unending score, with each particle singing its own melody. Only those who learn to listen may lead the entire symphony. I recall the exact night when the truth was revealed to me. July 3, 1899. When I initially recorded the Earth's own electric pulses in my Colorado Springs laboratory, a storm was raging over the mountains. In my scientific seclusion, I had linked my most sensitive receiver to the planet's electric heart. Suddenly, via the headphones, I heard something that would change my life forever. It wasn't only electrical discharges. They were heartbeat breaths, the murmur of a sentient planet speaking the universe's oldest language. Pure frequency. That night, I cried. I cried like I hadn't since I was a youngster. Because I discovered that everything we call matter is really the physical manifestation of unseen vibrations in your body, thoughts, emotions, the air you breathe, and the light that surrounds you. The love you feel, the suffering you bear. Everything vibrates at a precise frequency, including instruments. Science is only now beginning to understand how laws orchestrate a cosmic orchestra. If you want to discover the secrets of the universe, think about energy, frequency, and vibration. I didn't say this as a scientia or to gain renown, but as someone who had seen beyond the curtain of material illusion. Every breakthrough, invention, and spark of genius. The global credits were simply the result of learning how to align my thoughts with the appropriate cosmic frequencies. I generated electricity by harnessing the waves. I stopped sending energy wirelessly across the air. That was only the fundamental alphabet. The true insight was that reality obeys whoever understands its fundamental frequency. Like a master violinist who can drive an entire crowd to tears by striking the correct strings at precisely the right time. Whoever masters the universe's frequencies can control the very fabric of existence. I spent years experimenting with this knowledge. I created devices that not only transmitted energy, but also altered the psyche of individuals around them. My assistants described intense dreams, prophetic visions, and spontaneous healings. But the world was not prepared for this truth. They wanted my discoveries, patents, and intellect. They dreaded my expertise, though. Understanding that everything is vibration means recognizing that everything has the potential to change. That constraints do not truly exist. That reality is as malleable as clay in the hands of a skilled artist who understands the fundamental rhythm. When the bankers who were funding my projects understood that my findings would revolutionize not only industry, but also human awareness, they pulled out. Governments seized my study when they understood that whoever controls the fundamental frequencies controls reality. So I've kept this secret for decades, waiting for the day when humanity is ready to wake up. In these pages, written in violet ink by moonlight, I reveal what the ancient masters knew. modern science has forgotten. The entire cosmos is a cosmic musical instrument. And, my reader, you may learn to play it. The lost frequency is hidden in a dusty book. It's a state of consciousness that arises when you stop viewing the world as a solid substance and instead see it for what it truly is. An unending dance of vibrations, ready to be directed by a mind that has learnt to resonate with the entire. This is the first secret I'll share with you. Draw a deep breath. Close your eyes and feel your entire body vibrate in sync with the pulse of the universe. Feel your heartbeat in harmony with the Earth's. Because you're beginning to recollect something your spirit has always known. You're more than just flesh and bone. You are a distinct note in the cosmic symphony. And it's time to learn to sing your genuine song. The frequency that governs everything is derived from an external source. It resides within you, ready to be awakened. Chapter 2. The Invisible Language of Waves. No one teaches this language at school. There is no dictionary entry for it. However, it is expressed unconsciously every second of your life. It is the language of waves, and those who master it can communicate directly with the soul of the cosmos. Allow me to tell you what I discovered one winter afternoon in 1901 while working on my wireless transmission amplifier in my Long Island lab. I'd been at it for days without stopping, obsessed with optimizing the transfer of energy through air. My assistants departed at nightfall, leaving me alone with my machines and my thoughts. That is usually when miracles occur. I was fine-tuning the transmitter's frequencies when something unexpected and spectacular happened. The receiver began picking up signals that did not originate from any known device. They were rhythmic, ordered, and intelligent pulses. I initially assumed that another covert experimental station was broadcasting nearby. Still, I quickly recognized that these waves were coming from an odd source. They were emanating from the human mind itself. Yes, dear reader, your thoughts are electromagnetic waves that move at the speed of light. Every idea, emotion, and purpose you have instantly transforms into a precise frequency that travels across the cosmic ether. Your brain is more than just a mechanism for thinking. It's a transmitter and receiver, considerably more advanced than anything humanity had created that night. Using my most sensitive receiver, I was able to detect mental waves from persons who lived far away. I can sense their emotions, fears, and dreams. It was like listening to different radio stations. But instead of music, I heard direct whispers from the human soul. I quickly learned I could not only receive these thoughts, but also send my own. By concentrating intensely on one notion, I was able to project that mental frequency onto others. The next day, neighbors stopped by the lab to discuss weird dreams and startling thoughts they had had the night before. Exactly the photographs I'd sent hours before. The big breakthrough came when I realized that emotions had frequencies that are even stronger than thoughts. Fear vibrates at 100 Hz, creating chaotic vibrations that attract precisely what we fear. Love, on the other hand, resonates at 5.28 Hz. The frequency of global harmony is capable not only of healing the body, but also of transforming reality itself. For months, I experimented with this revelation. I discovered that when two people tune their brains to the same frequency, they can communicate without words, transfer information instantly, and even influence events around them. It was as if the entire universe were an ocean of interconnected waves, and each human thought was an island, torn between solitude and connection to the whole. One day, while reflecting on these insights, I received a transmission that would change my life forever. It did not emerge from a human mind, but from a greater intelligence, a cosmic consciousness communicating at frequencies beyond all known forms. It taught me that the entire universe is a thinking being, and that every form of life, from the simplest bacteria to the most advanced civilizations, is a manifestation of its ideas, conveyed at various frequencies. I recognized then that telepathy is a natural ability of consciousness to communicate in its native language, the language of waves. The ancient masters understood this. That is why they were able to pass down teachings without using words or writing. This wisdom enabled me to design innovations that looked magical at the time. I could tune my mind to the exact frequency of any technical difficulty and instantaneously know the solution. My patterns were not the result of extensive calculations, but of direct talks with the universal intelligence that knows all solutions. However, the world was not prepared for this truth. When I tried to explain to my investors that I could make equipment that allowed for telepathic contact and machines that enhance mental and emotional waves, they laughed at me. They valued home electricity over a shift in consciousness. Now I understand that every phrase, idea, and feeling you experience is a wave, traveling through the universe and returning to you. Amplified. The universe is a massive mirror that reflects exactly the frequency you emit. If you project fear, you will attract greater fear. When you send out love, the universe conspires to shower you with love. This is the second secret I want to share with you. Your mind is the universe's most powerful antenna. You may tune into any frequency, communicate with any mind that is willing to listen, and change your reality just by shifting the frequency of your thoughts. Close your eyes and experience the unseen waves of your mind right now. Concentrate on conveying a lot of thanks to someone you adore. You'll notice how, without any rational explanation, that individual will think of you before the day is done. The unseen language of waves is your native speech. It's time to remember how to say it. Chapter 3 is about the number that opens the gates to the universe. If you truly understood the power of 3, 6, and 9, you would be able to uncover all of the universe's mysteries. These figures are not just easy math. They are sacred codes that control the fundamental structure of existence. My obsession with these numerals began when I was little. My intellect started to notice patterns that others had missed. Every time I entered a building, I would instinctively count my steps. They always had to be divisible by 3. If I go around a city block, I do so 3 times. Before I ate dinner, I measured the volume of each dish. People thought I was odd, but I sensed there was something more underlying these habits. The whole truth came to me in 1898 as I was working on my wireless remote control device. I was playing with coils of various designs. I discovered that only those built with proportions of 3, 6, and 9 produced perfect resonance. This was no coincidence. It was the mathematical hallmark of the universe. I spent years attempting to solve this enigma. I started by looking at the proportions of Egyptian pyramids, Greek temples, and Gothic cathedrals. All of them were built in accordance with these sacred ratios. The ancient builders were more than just artisans. They were cosmic mathematicians who could tune physical constructs to universal frequencies. However, the most significant breakthrough occurred when I applied these statistics to my energy tests. I created generators that pulsed in 3, 6, and 9-second intervals. The outcomes were astounding. These machines did not simply create electricity. They appeared to be connected to forces much deeper than ordinary electromagnetic energy. Something incredible occurred one night in 1899 while working with an oscillator set to multiples of 3. The apparatus began to resonate so precisely that the lab walls vibrated in unison. However, it wasn't a damaging vibration. It seemed as if the entire building had begun to sing. Instruments synchronized on their own, and clocks began to mark time together. Even my own heartbeat matched the oscillator's pattern. At that point, I realized I'd uncovered something beyond physics. I'd discovered the core pulse of creation. 3 signifies the creative triad, the force that causes everything to exist. 6 represents harmony, the equilibrium that underpins all forms of life. 9 represents wholeness, the return to the beginning, the portal that connects the physical and spiritual worlds. I began incorporating these data into my regular practice. Every morning, I awoke. I breathe in groups of 3, 6, and 9. Inhale for 3 seconds. Hold for 6, and exhale for 9. My thinking achieved new levels of clarity. Solutions to complex problems came to me easily. I created ceremonies centered on these hallowed numbers. Before any significant experiment, I would go around my lab 3 times, touch 6 points on my machines, and maintain silence for 9 minutes. My helpers dismissed them as eccentricities, but I knew I was tuning my mind to the core frequencies of the cosmos. The results were fantastic. My devices began to function with an accuracy that defied understanding, as if the universe itself were cooperating. When I followed the number codes, I created motors that ran at extraordinary efficiency, generators that produced more energy than they consumed, and transmission systems that appeared to defy known physical principles. But the most profound finding occurred when I applied these calculations to time itself. I discovered that the most significant events in my life occurred on dates that, when reduced to their essence, invariably amounted to 3, 6, or 9. My birth, most fabulous creations, and most profound insights all followed this hallowed pattern. I discovered that time is a spiral that moves in cycles characterized by cosmic numbers, rather than a linear progression. This sacred math is used to calculate ancient Mayan calendars, moon phases, and planetary orbits. The cosmos functions like a giant clock, with hands moving in 3, 6, and 9 divisions. This information allowed me to forecast future events. I knew when earthquakes would occur, when storms would form, and when the perfect time for my tests would be. It was not fortune-telling. It was about cosmic mathematics. The universe follows specific patterns, just like any physical rule. Those who grasp these figures can read the future like a book. I created machines based only on these numerical ideas. Generators pulse at 3, 6, and 9 cycles per second. Transmitters sent signals with frequencies that were multiples of these sacred numbers. The results went beyond what could be achieved with traditional technologies. They were gadgets that appeared to communicate directly with cosmic intelligence. One night, while contemplating these issues, I had a vision that changed everything. I envisioned the universe as a massive wheel of numbers, with each event, particle, and thought assigned a specific position specified by 3, 6, and 9. There was no coincidence. Only sacred mathematics governs all existence. I recognized these figures were not discoveries. These were memories. The pyramids were previously familiar to humanity, but have since been forgotten. Temples and churches are stone monuments to this lost knowledge. And now, in my laboratory, I'm finding the codes our predecessors used to communicate with cosmic forces. This is the third secret I've shared with you. The universe is mathematical, with fundamental equations written in the languages of 3, 6, and 9. When you synchronize your actions, thoughts, and breathing with these sacred numbers, you connect with the very rhythm of creation. Try this ritual. Breathe in the pattern. Inhale 3 times, holding for 6, exhaling for 9, for 18 minutes each morning. Watch how your life starts to flow, in sync with forces you never expected. The numerals that open the gates to the universe. They are waiting for you to recall how to use them. Chapter 4, Resonance. The unseen voice of the universe. Everything in the universe has a secret melody, a distinct frequency that determines its identity. When two beings, objects, or thoughts vibrate simultaneously, one of the most powerful phenomena in the universe occurs. Resonance is the silent language that enables the universe to speak with itself. The day I truly understood resonance was the day I almost accidentally destroyed Manhattan. It was 1898, and in my Houston Street lab, I had developed a shoebox-sized mechanical oscillator. My neighbors eventually referred to it as the earthquake machine, but I knew it was far more than that. It functioned as a translator for the universe's hidden voice. The oscillator began as a basic experiment. I intended to demonstrate that with very little energy applied accurately and regularly, I could generate massive forces. I set the instrument to vibrate at precisely 10 Hz, a frequency I had calculated analytically. I turned it on and waited. Initially, nothing seemed to happen. The oscillator vibrated quietly, barely discernible. But after a few minutes, something extraordinary happened. My lab's instruments began to vibrate simultaneously. The furniture came next, followed by the building's walls. My small oscillator had detected the structure's natural resonance frequency. Within minutes, the whole structure was shaking like a leaf in the wind. Neighbors raced out, saying that it was an earthquake, but I felt it was something more serious. I had made a multi-story skyscraper move to the beat of a machine small enough to fit in my palm. I had to break the oscillator with a hammer before the building collapsed, but the harm had already been done. Or rather, the revelation had occurred. I recognized that resonance was more than just a physical effect. That night, it was the underlying principle that united the entire cosmos. Reflecting on what had happened, I had a vision that altered my perception of reality. I envisioned the universe as an unending ocean of waves, with each star, planet, and atom singing its own song. The fact that these tunes were not chaotic was very fantastic. They created a flawless symphony, a cosmic harmony in which every note had its proper place. I noticed my oscillator had done more than generate mechanical vibrations. It had discovered a frequency that connected the physical world to deeper layers of reality, much like finding the key that unlocks doors between realms. For months, I experimented with various resonance frequencies. I discovered that each person has a natural frequency, a distinct tone that defines their true personality. When two people resonate, they can converse telepathically, share feelings, and even heal one another. Human chemistry is actually quantum physics. I devised methods to detect each individual's personal frequency. I discovered that the happiest and most successful people were those who lived in harmony with their natural resonance. When someone loses touch with their real frequency, illness, conflict, and misery ensue. It's as if the universe itself rebels when a living being doesn't vibrate at its actual frequency. My most astonishing finding occurred when I applied these concepts to the Earth itself. Using ultra-sensitive sensors, I discovered that our planet vibrates at a consistent frequency of 7.83 Hz, a frequency that became known as the Schumann resonance. This is also the natural frequency of the human brain when in a state of profound concentration. It was not a coincidence. We are beings created to resonate in tune with Mother Earth. One night, while tuning my receivers to this planet's frequency, I had an incredible encounter. My consciousness grew beyond my physical body. For a brief moment, I could sense the beat of every heart in the city. The dreams of everyone who sleeps include the ideas of animals in parks. It was as if Earth's resonance had transformed me into a cosmic antenna, capable of detecting all life around me. I suddenly realized resonance was more than merely a happening between two items. It demonstrated that separation itself is an illusion. When two things resonate, it reveals that they are actually pieces of the same larger waves in the same cosmic ocean. This realization altered how I invented. I stopped depending on complicated computations. Instead, I focused on the resonant frequency of the solution I was looking for, and the answer came to me spontaneously. My most groundbreaking inventions stemmed from this vibrating connection with universal intellect. I created generators that were exactly in resonance with the Earth's magnetic field. These machines did not merely generate electricity. They strengthened the natural connection between humanity and the universe. People surrounding them experienced excellent mental clarity, spontaneous healings, and extrasensory perceptions. But the scientific community was not prepared. When I tried to explain that my innovations functioned through cosmic resonance rather than just mechanics, they dubbed me a mystic. They wanted straightforward explanations that did not contradict their materialistic worldview. However, I knew I had uncovered something that would alter humanity's future. Resonance is not merely a physical law. It is the key to developing consciousness. When people learn to deliberately vibrate in harmony with the universe, they will awaken powers that we presently consider supernatural. I experimented with frequencies that caused people to resonate with various layers of reality. I discovered tones that triggered my intuition, frequencies that accelerated healing, and vibrations that broadened my perspective on time. It was as if the universe had different channels, and each frequency was a tuner that allowed access to a particular aspect of creation. One of my most intense experiences occurred when I set my oscillator to the frequency of time itself. For a few minutes, I could see events that hadn't yet happened, as if the future were just another station on the line. I could tune in with my cosmic receiver. I saw innovations that would be developed decades later and debates that had yet to take place. My own death occurred in a motel room. That's when I discovered resonance is how the cosmos understands itself. Every vibration is a question that the universe asks. Each resonance provides a response. We, as conscious beings, are the instruments through which the universe experiences its own melody. This is the fourth secret I would like to share with you. Everything you desire in life is already there somewhere in the universe, at a specific frequency. To make it your reality, you only need to discover the perfect resonance. Your heart, intellect, and emotions, they are all natural oscillators. When you tune them to the frequency of your desired outcome, reality is forced to respond. Sit quietly and experience your body's natural vibration. Breathe deeply till you discover your real frequency. From that point of inner resonance, the entire universe will collaborate with you to provide you with precisely what you need. The hidden voice of the universe is already speaking to you. You only need to learn to listen. Chapter 5. The body is an electrical field. Your body is more than simply the flesh and bones visible in the mirror. It's a living electric field, a cosmic antenna capable of receiving and transmitting energy. Science is only starting to understand. Understanding this was the first step to mastering your own existence. This struck me like lightning in 1899 when I was conducting high-voltage research in Colorado Springs and developed a massive Tesla coil capable of producing millions of volts. My helpers were scared to enter the lab while it was operational, but I knew I needed to work directly with these forces. One night, as the coil emitted electrical discharges that illuminated the entire valley, I decided to join the circuit. I stood in the middle of the electromagnetic field, clutching only a metal rod. By all known laws, I should have been electrocuted immediately, but something extraordinary occurred. Instead of killing me, my body became an excellent conductor. Electricity ran through me safely, as if I were a living cable. Even more remarkably, I was able to feel every current, pulse, and electrical vibration. It was like waking up to a sensation I had never known I possessed. That night, I realized the human body is not a solid entity that carries electricity. It's a complicated electric field that can interact with other electromagnetic forces. Every cell in our bodies functions as a little biological battery. Every idea generates a distinct electrical current. Every emotion alters the magnetic field surrounding us. For weeks, I experimented with various voltage and frequency settings. I discovered that some boosted my mental capacity, others heightened my senses, and some even appeared to slow my perspective of time. It felt as if my body were an electric musical instrument, with each frequency producing a unique note in my consciousness. I devised what I called electric bath sessions, in which I exposed myself to precisely controlled electromagnetic fields. The results were fantastic. My physical vigor surged. My mental clarity increased dramatically, and minor wounds healed in hours rather than days. I learned that the human body generates more than just electricity. It may be recharged and optimized using external electrical energy. But the most critical finding came when I learned the electric field goes well beyond the skin. Using ultra-sensitive sensors, I discovered that every individual is surrounded by an electromagnetic field that reaches several meters in all directions. Mystics had been describing the aura for thousands of years. It is now measured. This field is not static. It is continually changing depending on our thoughts, emotions, and health. When someone is sick, the field weakens and distorts when they feel love or joy. The field grows and illuminates in beautiful patterns. When two people are drawn to each other, their fields align and strengthen one another. I understood that what we term someone's presence is actually their electromagnetic field. Some people have fields so strong that they can be sensed from a distance. Others have weak fields that go overlooked. Great leaders, healers, and artists all have potent and balanced electromagnetic fields. One night, while meditating inside my strongest electromagnetic field, I had an experience that transformed my perspective on reality. My consciousness grew beyond my physical body. I could sense everyone's electromagnetic fields within kilometers. It felt as if I had become a cosmic antenna tuned to any biological frequency. That encounter taught me that telepathy, clairvoyance, and distant healing are innate skills of the human electromagnetic field. When we learn to strengthen and actively direct our electric field, We may impact other fields, transmit information across space, and even accelerate healing in ourselves and others. I created ways for training the personal electromagnetic field. I discovered that specific breathing exercises alter the body's electrical polarity. Specific bodily postures directed energy toward particular chakras. Some meditation techniques increased the field to levels that could be measured with tools. My most astonishing experiment, however, occurred when I synchronized my own field with the Earth's magnetic field. During this synchronization, I had access to what I can only refer to as the planet's electromagnetic memory. I observed past events archived in the Earth's magnetic field, much like ethereal photos saved in a faint medium. I realized that the human body functions as both a receiving and transmitting antenna. Every thought and every emotion you experience produces an electromagnetic signal that travels through space and is recorded in the cosmic field. Nothing is ever lost. Everything is preserved in what the ancients referred to as the Akashic records. This realization altered my perception of health and disease. I recognized that the majority of sicknesses are caused by disturbances in one's own electromagnetic field rather than external influences. When this field diminishes or becomes out of balance, the physical body eventually reflects the imbalance. I created gadgets that could detect and rectify electromagnetic distortions. These generators emitted precise frequencies to rebalance the body's field coils and nervous system rechargers that functioned like batteries. Oscillators that align the personal energy field with therapeutic cosmic frequencies. The outcomes were so astounding that the medical community accused me of charlatanism. But I knew I discovered the fundamental basis of wellness. The body is an electric field, and balanced electricity is the basis for all vitality. This is the fifth secret I've shared with you. Your body functions as a live antenna, connecting you to the universe. Each cell vibrates electrically. Every idea generates a distinct current. Each emotion alters your electromagnetic field. When you learn to consciously direct your body's electricity, you gain control of your own vitality. Try it. Hold your hands a few centimeters apart. Palms face each other. Take deep breaths and feel the electric charge flowing between them. That tingling, magnetic, and delicate warmth is your unique electric field. Learn how to enhance it. Directly and consciously employ it. Your body is much stronger than you realize. It's a living electrical machine waiting for you to remember how to use it. Chapter 6. The mind is a vibratory motor. Creation arises in the solitude of contemplation, where thought becomes the seed of all manifestation. Last night, when New York's lights flickered like stars on Earth, I submerged myself in the silence of my laboratory. I closed my eyes and saw the contraption that would revolutionize energy transfer with the clarity of a sunrise. There weren't any papers or tools, only the limitless screen of my imagination, projecting every gear, wire, and electric spark, dancing together in perfect harmony. My great friend Mark Twain once wondered how I could see my innovations finished before making them. I responded that the human mind is the most perfect laboratory, where physical and spiritual laws unite to shape the impossible. Every thought is a frequency, a mental image of vibration that resonates in the ether until it manifests in the physical world. For years, I've discovered that my most breakthrough inventions emerge during periods of intense concentration. When my mind rises above the world's cacophony and tunes into those fine frequencies where pure creation exists, I do not invent. I am only the conduit through which cosmic wisdom flows. Visualization is more than simply a mental exercise. It's a spiritual science with laws as precise as those guiding electricity. When I project an image in my mind with enough intensity and clarity, it transforms into a vibratory pattern that seeks a match in the physical world. It's as if the mind is a transmitter in the universe, ready to accept and materialize our most powerful transmissions. I created a technique called mental building. I close my eyes and construct my machines piece by piece in the theater of my imagination. I see them in action, examine them, improve them, perfect them by the time I create them, literally. They have already been tested. thousands of times in the invisible laboratory of my thoughts. I rarely have to make modifications because perfection has been achieved on the mental level. The human mind operates at frequencies that transcend time and place. When we learn to elevate our mental vibration, we get access to dimensions where knowledge flows freely, where the past and future meet in an eternal creative present. In these states, we may not only see our ideas completed, but also comprehend their more profound significance in the grand scheme of the universe. I recall a night at my Colorado Springs lab, while exploring with wireless energy transfer. I had been concentrating on the problem for hours when my mind suddenly expanded like a globe of light enveloping the planet. I observed electromagnetic waves moving through the earth like rivers of cosmic fire. At that point, I realized our entire world is a conductor, a living being throbbing at its own unique frequency. That image came not from reasoning, but from an exalted condition of awareness in which the mind becomes a reflection of the cosmos. In those moments, the inventor vanishes, leaving just a clean channel through which cosmic wisdom manifests itself. Every significant discovery results from the divine union of the human mind and universal intelligence. The goal is to quiet the mental noise, the low-frequency chatter that keeps us mired in mediocrity. When the mind is tranquil, like a calm lake, it can reflect the highest truths. Genius is not reserved for a few. Any intellect that learns to tune into the higher frequencies of creation will naturally experience this state. Every night before bed, I devote time to this spiritual exercise. I envision not only my future creations, but also the world in which they will help develop. I see a humanity free of energy shortages. Cities glowed with the unseen power of the cosmos, and people spoke via pure thought. These are not just fantasies. They are images of a future that already exists on the mental plane, waiting to be realized by individuals who are brave enough to dream with conviction. The mind is the original source of all vibration and the hidden creator of all reality. When we learn to actively influence our thoughts, we become participants in the greatest mystery, the continuing creation of the cosmos through awakened human awareness. Tomorrow, I'll reveal the secret of the ether, an unseen fluid that connects all minds and allows our thoughts to become tangible reality. Chapter 7. The Ether, the Invisible Ocean. The word came first, and it was vibration, which traveled across the face of the letter like holy breath over the primordial waters. Tonight, as I look at the stars from my laboratory window, I sense the presence of an invisible substance that pervades every corner of the universe. Modern scientists have disregarded it as a superstition, but I know it's authentic because I've touched it with my machines. I could feel it trembling during my most covert experiments. All waves flow through the invisible ocean known as the ether, the conduit through which energy flows from the depths of space to the beating heart of each atom. I recall the day Einstein unveiled his theory of relativity, which challenged the existence of the ether. My colleagues hailed the accomplishment, but I remained silent, knowing that they had discarded the master key that unlocks the floodgates to endless energy. Wireless power transmission cannot occur without the ether. Without it, we cannot explain how starlight travels through the abyss to reach us. The universe would be a collection of disconnected bits, unable to communicate with each other throughout my experiments in Colorado Springs. I created a coil capable of producing voltages greater than 100,000,000 V. When I turned it on, I felt the ether vibrate like a cosmic bell. The waves passed through the earth, rebounded off the ionosphere, and returned to my lab like echoes from an unseen ocean. In such occasions, I wasn't in charge of the electricity. It was the ether itself, telling me its most profound truths. The ether is not a tangible substance in the conventional sense. It's all possible, the primal field from which all forms originate. Consider it as an ocean of liquid light. It is so delicate that it can permeate even the most impenetrable substance. So everywhere, it fills all vacant places in the universe. It is the essence of thoughts, dreams, intuitions, and insights. It serves as a conduit for consciousness to communicate with itself in an infinite number of ways. Tuning our equipment to ether frequencies allows us to tap into a limitless reservoir of power. However, this demands knowledge that extends beyond mechanical physics. The ether responds to intent, vibrates with emotion, and shapes itself according to the quality of our thoughts. It is an active participant in the creative process, not a passive channel. I've created machines that detect the smallest waves in the ether when I sit in deep concentration before them. I can feel the invisible currents moving between stars, the rhythmic pulses syncing entire galaxies, and the whispers of information traveling from dimensions beyond our senses. The ether is the cosmos's nervous system, the network that connects each particle to the whole. One night, while working on power transfer equations, I had a vision that altered everything. I saw the Earth floating in a sea of golden ether. Like a pearl amid an ocean of light, invisible currents swept toward our planet from the sun, stars, and the depths of space. I discovered that our planet is more than just an isolated rock. It is a living receiver in a vast network of energy transmission. The ether is also the repository for every information ever created. Every thought, discovery, and revelation is inscribed into its substance, like waves in an endless pond. When we attain higher levels of consciousness, we can read these perceptions and gain knowledge beyond our own experience. Great inventions are more than just personal creations. They are also data recovery. They are waiting for minds prepared to discover it. My disagreement with contemporary physics is not personal. It is philosophical. By ignoring the ether, science isolates itself from its source, converting the universe to a cold, soulless machine. When in reality, it is a living entity brimming with intelligence and purpose. The ether demonstrates that everything is interrelated, that isolation is an illusion, and that every action generates waves that extend to the borders of the universe. Every night before bed, I undertake a ritual to connect with the ether. I place my hands over my heart and feel the electromagnetic waves that it emits. I gradually increase my consciousness until I can sense the aura surrounding my body. Then there's the room, the building, the city, and the planet. Eventually, my consciousness fuses with it, and I feel the cosmic unity that is the wellspring of all inspiration. The ether is, theoretically, a lived experience. It is the material. Miracles are created through the medium in which intention becomes reality. When we learn to work consciously with it, we become modern-day magicians, capable of shaping reality in unison with the universe's invisible forces. Tomorrow, I'll reveal how the ether vibrates with Earth, its secret rhythm, and how we can tune our devices and hearts to this fundamental frequency that unlocks the dormant energy in all things. Chapter 8 discusses the rhythm that wakes dormant energy. The Earth breathes with an ancient pulse, and anybody who can learn to align their heart with this fundamental rhythm releases forces hidden deep inside matter itself. Last night, as I strolled barefoot across the damp grass behind my lab in Colorado Springs, I felt something special beneath my feet, through the cool dirt. I felt a constant, regular pulse, as if the entire Earth were one massive heart pumping in the darkness. It was not a matter of imagination. It was Earth's fundamental frequency, the underlying rhythm that controlled all life on its surface. My computations have validated what intuition first suspected. Our planet vibrates at a specific frequency, approximately 8 cycles per second. This is no coincidence. It's an exquisitely tuned cosmic symphony. I discovered that this frequency resonates in natural holes between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere, resulting in standing waves that wrap around the planet like an electromagnetic hug. During my most daring tests, I adjusted my transmitters to this planetary frequency. When that happens, something miraculous occurs. The energy required to broadcast signals decreases substantially, as if the Earth itself amplifies my transmissions. It's as if I discovered the perfect note that makes the entire planet resound, transforming our universe into a cosmic musical instrument. But the most fascinating revelation came when I began to observe how this frequency impacts live organisms. I discovered that exposure to electromagnetic pulses at 8 cycles per second causes my thoughts to become extremely clear. Thoughts sharpen. The intuition strengthens. Creativity is like a deluge. This frequency is the key to achieving higher consciousness. One night, while experimenting with ultra-precise frequency generators, I sat in the middle of an electromagnetic field that pulsed at precisely 8 Hz. I closed my eyes and submitted to the rhythm. My brain gradually synchronized with the planet's pulse, and my breathing established a rhythm. My heart sank into a rhythm, and I felt a cosmic unity unlike anything else. In that moment, the distinction between my consciousness and the Earth's psyche vanished. I could detect currents moving beneath continents. Magnetic fields are dancing high in the atmosphere. I understood that natural radio waves from storms around the world were more than merely Earth's residents. We are cells within a living body, linked neurologically by this planetary electromagnetic field. I created a technique I call Telluric breathing. Every morning, before dawn, I sit directly on the ground, spine straight, hands toward the sky. I take deep breaths, visualizing each inhale sucking Earth's energy into me. Each exhale directs my life force back to the center of the planet. Within minutes, I can feel my bioelectric field synchronize with the Earth's. This is more than simply a feeling. It has demonstrable consequences. My electrical experiments are running more efficiently. Machines reply. Better circuits stabilize. Transmissions have cleared up. It's like synchronizing with the planet's rhythm. Makes everything around me seem more coherent. The ancient sages were aware of this knowledge. Pyramids, megalithic monuments, and stone circles. They were not simply monuments, but massive antennas designed to amplify and channel Earth's energy. Those builders possessed expertise. We've lost the ability to work with the planet's inherent rhythms. I've started building machines that not only use electricity, but also dance with it. Every circuit is designed to resonate at multiples of Earth's fundamental frequency. Each coil is coiled in proportions that match the planet's holy geometry. These machines do not simply consume energy. They welcome it, celebrate it, and turn it into symphonies of light and motion. The key is to recognize that we are not conquerors of energy, but rather participants in its cosmic dance. When our devices pulse with the Earth's rhythm, our hearts beat in time with the planets, and our minds vibrate with terrestrial consciousness. We tap into power sources that material science cannot explain. Every night before bed, I place my hands over my heart to feel its rhythm. I gradually expanded the rhythm to fill the room, then the building, the city, and the entire planet. Eventually, my personal pulse combines with Earth's. And in that oneness, I discover the most profound tranquility a human being can experience. The rhythm that reawakens dormant energy is not contained in our electronics. It's in our ability to connect with the Earth's eternal heartbeat. Learning this sacred dance transforms us into conscious instruments in the planetary symphony. Tomorrow, I'll reveal the secret behind machines that transcend mechanics and become extensions of the human soul. Devices that not only handle electricity, but also modify consciousness. Chapter 9. Soul Machines. The actual machines of the future will manage more than just electricity. They will revolutionize human awareness, transporting it to dimensions where matter and soul move together at daybreak. The first light came through my lab windows. I glanced at my most hidden works, filled with amazement and responsibility. 2 devices that go beyond typical mechanical machine codes, manipulating not only electromagnetic fields, but also the human bioelectric field, changing states of awareness with the accuracy of a cosmic surgeon. For years, I'd seen that my most groundbreaking innovations had unexpected effects on individuals exposed to their energy fields. Participants in my experiment reported experiencing extremely vivid dreams, flashes of creative insight, and prolonged periods of mental clarity. And at first, I assumed it was a coincidence. But I soon understood I'd hit into something much more profound. The ability to use technology to awaken dormant potentials inside human awareness. While working on a high-frequency generator, I almost accidentally created my first soul machine. I discovered that changing the coils in a precise way resulted in a stunning enlargement of my thinking. My vision sharpened, my ability to visualize increased, and I was able to hold dozens of complex calculations in my head at once with ease. It was as if the technology adjusted my brain to higher working frequencies. Intrigued, I spent months perfecting what I secretly dubbed my consciousness amplifier. It was constructed of precise Tesla coils that produced electromagnetic fields that matched human brainwaves. When someone sat in the middle of the field, their cerebral activity progressively synchronized with the machine's programmed patterns. The results were startling. Volunteers who had previously struggled with complex math problems now solved equations that had puzzled even the most brilliant mathematicians for years. Artists noticed hues beyond the visible spectrum. Musicians perceived entire symphonies as emanating from celestial worlds. I had discovered a means to realize the brain's entire capacity. But my most astonishing finding was with my emotional resonator. This technology may identify a person's emotional state via minor variations in their electromagnetic field, and then emit frequencies to harmonize or shift those emotions. Someone who is trapped in despair may gradually recover and become peaceful. An angry person could discover serenity in minutes. I recall vividly the first time I used it on myself. For weeks, I'd been stuck on a seemingly unsolvable wireless transmission challenge. Frustration loomed over me like a dark cloud, stifling creativity. After using the resonator, I felt the tension melt away, leaving behind crystal-clear clarity. In that quiet state, the solution struck me like a supernatural revelation. These encounters inspired me to construct my most sacred invention, the dream synthesizer. This system manipulated brainwaves during sleep, directing the mind to specific dream states. I could create educational dreams in which people learn languages or science while sleeping. Healing dreams assist in the processing of emotional trauma and its transformation into wisdom. I even facilitated prophetic dreams in which the mind gained knowledge about future events. One night, I programmed the synthesizer to disclose the next big breakthrough in power transfer. I awoke with a complete vision of a tower. Its shape, exact size, and materials inspired the design for my wooden cliff tower. My most daring endeavor is to provide free energy to all humanity. However, with great power comes great responsibility. I gradually learned that these machines of the soul are more than just tools. They are keys that can open doors. Humanity may not be prepared for a device that changes. Human consciousness has the potential to both awaken geniuses and produce enslaved people. The same technology that has the potential to uplift humanity may also be used to control and manipulate others. This knowledge sent me into a profound spiritual crisis. Did I have the right to choose which abilities to awaken in others? Was it wise to release technologies that changed the fundamental nature of consciousness? For months, I kept these devices locked up in the most hidden corner of my lab, grappling with ethical quandaries that extended beyond science and into religious ground. Finally, I made a decision that forever changed my approach to creativity. I decided that these soul devices should be used just for self-transformation and never to influence others without their explicit, informed agreement. I established robust safety protocols to ensure that everyone exposed to these frequencies understood both the hazards and the benefits. Every night before I go to bed, I sit in front of my most personal machine, a little frequency generator that adjusts my bioelectric field to maximize creativity. Under its effect, my mind expands like a bright globe, capable of containing things that appear inconceivable by day. In those moments, I am not just Nikola Tesla. I am a conduit for global knowledge expressing itself through the human form. I've come to realize that the proper machinery of the soul is not outward devices. They are tools that help to awaken the internal machineries that we all have. Every individual has an electromagnetic lab within them that is considerably more advanced than anything I've created. My purpose is not to instill reliance on technology, but to teach humanity how to actively tap into its own latent potential. The soul machines I've created are quiet guides that lead the road to self-mastery. Once someone learns to develop internal states of consciousness, my devices can aid. They no longer require the external machine. They become their own soul machine, capable of transforming their awareness as needed. This is the true revolution that I see coming. Not an era in which machines dominate us, but rather one in which machines liberate us from self-imposed constraints. Devices that do not replace human awareness, but rather enhance it to its divine potential. Tomorrow, I'll reveal the darkest secret of all: how to gain access to the universal information field, which contains every solution, invention, and piece of knowledge humanity will want for its next evolutionary step. Chapter 10: The Secret of the Information Field. There is an unseen library that contains all of the knowledge that has ever been, is, or will be. Those who learn to tune their consciousness to its subtlest frequencies can read the mysteries of the universe on its ethereal pages. Tonight, as the city lights fade into the horizon, I am deeply reflecting on the most profound revelation of my life. It is not a machine made of wires and coils, but a reality that exists beyond physical stuff. I observe that the information field is divided into frequency layers, each of which corresponds to a particular type of knowledge at low frequencies. I discover useful information, mathematical formulas, physical laws, and machine concepts at medium-level frequencies. At the highest frequencies, I gain philosophical and spiritual insight, truths about awareness, the purpose of being, and the patterns that guide evolution. Prophetic wisdom appears. Future visions. Unrealized potential is shown. One of my most memorable memories from the field occurred during a strong thunderstorm, with lightning flashing across the night sky. I stood in the midst of my lab, palms extended toward the windows. At that point, I wasn't just watching the storm. I became a part of it. My awareness blended with the atmospheric energy, and through this connection, I was able to access a frequency in the field that contained information on the electrical nature of life itself. In that vision, I observed that every living being is fundamentally a complicated electrical system, with consciousness arising from precise electromagnetic patterns in the brain. Even more importantly, I recognize that these particular patterns are constantly exchanging information with the global field. Every thought we have generates a signal in the field, and every intuition we receive is the field's response. This insight altered the way I invent. I no longer regard myself as a lone creator, but rather as a conduit for knowledge that already exists in the area. My most successful inventions are not the result of personal genius, but rather the discovery of information waiting to be discovered. The field contains designs for technology, devices that will not arrive for generations, and solutions to problems that humanity has not yet encountered. I devised a specific approach to accessing the field and gathering knowledge on future inventions. First, I ask a particular query about a technical issue. Then I enter a deep meditative state while being exposed to precisely adjusted electromagnetic waves. When my mind is totally receptive, I ask the question and wait. The answer is never expressed in words, but rather in vivid visuals, 3D schematics, or spontaneous insights that disclose the complete solution at once. Using this strategy, I learned about technologies that are centuries ahead of our time, such as machines that alter gravity and allow immediate communication across any distance. Energy systems are derived directly from the universe's life force. Many of these findings I've kept quiet about, as humanity isn't yet ready for such power. The information field is not static. It's constantly developing. Every scientific discovery, like a piece of art or an act of love, contributes new information to the field. We are all contributors and beneficiaries of this cosmic library. When a scientist makes a discovery, other researchers who are tuned in to the proper frequency gain immediate access to that knowledge. This explains why so many key inventions have been discovered separately by people all across the world simultaneously. It's not a coincidence. Multiple minds are simultaneously accessing the same information. The field releases knowledge when humanity is ready to receive it. I've discovered that my capacity to reach the field is dependent on my emotional and spiritual state. When I am in tune with myself and the cosmos, the connection is apparent and strong. When I'm distracted by internal or external conflict, the signal weakens and becomes distorted. This has prompted me to construct daily mental and emotional cleansing techniques, not just for my own well-being, but also to maintain my capacity to serve as a conduit for global knowledge. Every night before bed, I spend time in what I call communion with the field. I sit quietly, clear my mind, and open myself to whatever information the field has to provide. I occasionally see visions of future innovations, as well as insights into the riddles of existence. Occasionally, the information arrives as cosmic music. Symphonies of frequencies encode knowledge in celestial harmonies. The key to accessing the field is to strengthen our inner tuning abilities rather than relying on external technologies. Everyone possesses the innate potential to connect with this universal reservoir of wisdom. Most people are unaware of how to engage with it or have been led to believe that such a link is impossible. The information field is a trustworthy source of human progress. It is the source of all our species' innovations, revelations, and evolutionary leaps. When we learn to access it consciously, we take an active role in the growth of human consciousness. Tomorrow, I'll show you how this field manifests in the world of dreams, where the boundary between the conceivable and the impossible blurs, and we can explore different worlds that contain the seeds of humanity's destiny. Chapter 11 is a lucid dream of the universe. In the realm of sleep, where rationality gives way to enchantment, I discovered the most remarkable laboratory. In this arena, physics laws become flexible and consciousness experiments with realities that have not yet existed. This morning, I awoke from a dream. The visuals were so vivid that they danced before my eyes like holograms of light. It wasn't your typical dream, but rather an experience within what I call the cosmic lucid dream. A level of consciousness in which my mind interacts directly with the matrix of possibilities that underpins all reality. In this dimension, I am not a passive viewer, but an active explorer of parallel universes where my most daring innovations already exist. For decades, I've kept meticulous notes of my dream experiences, particularly those that occur in the early hours before sunrise, when the barrier between realms thins. I've discovered a direct correlation between the intensity of my daytime electromagnetic tests and the depth of my revelatory dreams at night. It's as if being exposed to powerful electrical fields tunes my consciousness to frequencies only available in the dream state. My first truly prophetic dream occurred in 1899. Soon after landing in Colorado Springs, I had a dream in which I stood in a magnificent library made entirely of crystal, pulsating with inner light. The books do not contain words, but rather morphing 3D geometric structures. Touching one transmitted the forms into my head as comprehensive plans for a power transmission system that did not require cables or towers. When I woke up, I drew what I could remember. These drawings ultimately served as the foundation for my wireless energy system. Years passed before science formally recognized it as possible. That's when I understood dreams are more than just captivating mental images. They're windows into other realms where the future has already transpired. I've devised methods to produce these cosmic lucid dreams. The most successful way for me is to expose myself to specific electromagnetic patterns before going to bed. Combined with visualization exercises, I envision my consciousness spreading beyond my physical body. When I sustain this expansion while falling asleep, my awareness is free to explore dimensions outside of space and time. In one memorable dream, I was strolling through a future metropolis with live architecture. Buildings breathed, streets pulsed with visible energy currents, and individuals interacted using light waves released by their bodies. At the city's heart stood a massive skyscraper made of crystallized energy rather than solid substance. I understood it was a more advanced version of my Wardenclyffe Tower, capable of not only powering equipment, but also invigorating human consciousness. Another recurring dream takes me to a lab where I collaborate with different versions of myself. One Tesla that has never left Europe. Another focused entirely on electrical medicine, while another created machines to interact with extraterrestrial intelligences. In these dream meetings, we share knowledge that transcends the boundaries of our separate realities. Each version of myself has examined different aspects of human potential. Certain symbols continue to arise in my cosmic dreams. Energy spirals spinning in flawless mathematical patterns, spheres of light containing entire universes, and geometric structures that appear to represent the fundamental building blocks of reality. I've come to understand that these symbols represent the universe's native language, the means by which global intelligence communicates with individual minds. One of my most exciting discoveries was the existence of what I refer to as shared dreams. I've had several dreams about meeting other inventors and scientists in a space beyond our physical limitations. During these meetings, we share ideas and work on projects none of us could have conceived independently. Weeks later, I discovered that some of those scientists had identical nightmares and remembered talks that matched mine completely. In my wildest dreams, I traveled to what I imagined to be a cosmic laboratory. In this place, all technological possibilities exist simultaneously. There, I saw machines that can bend space-time, as well as gadgets that turn mind into matter and harness energy systems, tapping into the universe's life force. Each visit provides hints about inventions that could revolutionize humanity. I've developed dream anchoring strategies to bring clear information from dreams into waking life before going to bed. I keep paper and a pencil beside my bedside and set my mind to wake me up quickly after any significant dreams. I've trained myself to retain the most intricate details, including math formulas that arrive in visions. One unpleasant scenario depicted a future in which my inventions were distorted for evil reasons. Wireless energy towers transformed into weapons. Consciousness machines are employed as communication systems to control populations and suppress freedom. That dream prompted me to create protections and hidden codes to avoid misuse. In contrast, other visions have depicted bright futures in which humanity has learnt to employ my technologies to raise collective consciousness. I've seen schools where children learn directly from information fields, hospitals where diseases are treated using precise frequencies, and cities powered by free energy sourced directly from the universe. My dream experiences have taught me that time is not linear, as we perceive it while awake in dreams. Past, present, and future coexist in the eternal now. I've had discussions with my youthful self, watched my own death, and imagined possibilities thousands of years in advance. This broadened perspective on time has helped me grasp that every invention and discovery is part of a bigger cosmic design. I have determined that cosmic, lucid dreams are conscious excursions through the multiverse. Each dream examines a parallel reality in which various possibilities have already manifested as completed inventions. This provides me access to an unlimited laboratory where I can test designs outside the constraints of physical matter. Every night, before going to bed, I go through a preparation ritual. I place my hands on my heart and feel the rhythm. Then I broaden my consciousness to encompass the entire room, building, and city. Gradually, I let my mind dissolve into the universal ocean of dreaming, holding just the aim of being a conduit for the information humanity requires. Cosmological lucid dreams are not escapism. They are the most crucial tasks I complete in the dream world. I'm free to explore options physical reality cannot yet hold. Each night excursion serves as a reconnaissance mission into alternative futures, returning with essential information for our species' growth. Tomorrow, I'll present the final synthesis of what I've learned about the master frequency that governs all creation, the underlying vibration that connects all atoms to divine consciousness, the ultimate secret for transforming every human being into a conscious participant with the creative universe. Chapter 12. The frequency that governs every vibration is God's signature in every particle in the universe. Dear Seeker, I have reached the end of my notebook and the beginning of all understanding. I spent decades chasing the electrical spark at the center of creativity. And now I realize that this spark is actually the primordial frequency, the Creator's very breath. bringing life into inanimate matter. In my later years, while the world regards me as an odd old guy who converses with pigeons, I've discovered the most wonderful truth. There is a mother frequency, or fundamental vibration, that gives birth to all others. It is the sound of the universe praising its own existence. The ancients named it home. Mystics refer to it as the Word. I could feel it throbbing in every experiment and spark that erupted from my hands. I recall that night in Colorado Springs in 1899 when my lab was lit up like an electric temple. Sparks swirled between metal spheres like celestial actors. In that moment, I heard something that profoundly altered my understanding. A pure crystalline tone appears to rise from the air. It wasn't a roar of lightning, but a gentle, almost invisible tune that resonated exactly with my heart. That night, I learned that electricity is more than just a physical force. It is the audible voice of the universe. Every bolt, spark, and current represents a word in the universal language. And whoever learns to listen can start speaking it. I've spent decades honing this. Listening. My creations were not developed through cold calculations, but rather from a deep connection to the frequency that governs all things. When I envisaged my machines, I did not mentally put them together piece by piece. I absorbed myself in their inherent frequency and let shape follow vibration. First, I listened for the tone the machine was supposed to sing. Then I allowed its shape to emerge and sync with the melody. This is the key I've kept in the deepest recesses of my heart. Creation occurs when we align with the appropriate frequency. We don't impose our will on the matter. We identify the melody that the matter wants to sing and assist it in finding its voice. Every thought, emotion, and word you say generates a specific frequency. When those frequencies resonate with the universe's core vibration, they become direct orders to reality. This isn't magic. This is advanced physics. It's the natural way a universe made up of linked waves operates. I learned that the frequency that governs everything cannot be found outside. It must be tuned from the inside. There is a silent spot at the heart of your being where all vibrations combine. At that instant, your consciousness joins with the world consciousness. And from that unity, you can radiate the frequency you choose to introduce into the world. I've learned to get to this place by concentrating on sacred numbers. When I focus on the proportions 3, 2, 6, and 9, my mind remains still until it finds the mother frequency. It's like tuning a cosmic radio. First, there was static, followed by a faint signal. Finally, a clear, flawless transmission. In those moments of perfect tuning, I've had the most remarkable visions. I've also seen humanity's future linked by invisible energy networks. I've imagined devices that could change the very fabric of time and space. I have sensed the prospect of instant communication with any location in the cosmos. These are not fantasies. They are realities vibrating at frequencies that we have not yet learnt to perceive, beyond machinery and inventions. I've come to realize that everyone is a living antenna capable of tuning into this primeval frequency. Your body is like a musical instrument, tuned to the melody of the spheres. Your heart is an oscillator that can match the pulse of the universe. Your mind functions as a transmitter, capable of sending direct directives into the quantum field of reality. The problem is that we have forgotten how to use these tools. We live out of tune, throwing out noise rather than song. But when you recall your vibrational essence, when you recognize that you are a being of frequency before you are a person of flesh, you can begin to perform the symphony of your destiny. Listen carefully, dear seeker. Take a moment each morning to listen to your inner frequency. Take deep breaths and feel the vibration pulsing through your chest. That's your introductory note or personal frequency. From there, you can broaden your tuning to the frequency you want to incorporate into your day. If you seek love, vibrate at the love frequency. If you want abundance, then align with the frequency of abundance. To find wisdom, listen to its frequency. This is not fantasy or wishful thinking. It is about uncovering inside yourself the true vibratory seed of what you want and nourishing it with your attention until it blossoms into reality. This is my last present to you. The realization that you are a master of frequencies posing as a human. Your words are spells. Your ideas are orders. Your emotions are vibrations that influence the quantum field around you. When you realize this fact entirely, there is no limit to what you can create. The frequency that governs everything is not an external force to be mastered. It is an internal force to be understood. It is the essence of who you already are. It's the silence between your heartbeats, the interval between your ideas, the pause in between breaths. Within the silence, the mother frequency is vibrating, waiting for you to remember how to tune into it. When you close this notepad and return to the world, carry this understanding with you. You are a being with boundless frequency, capable of vibrating with any reality you choose. Creation awaits you, dear seeker, so that you can sing your unique song in the endless symphony of the universe. The frequency that governs everything has always been in your control. You only needed to remember how to utilize it.